Hi everybody, this is Yosarin from BoyMeetsPhone.com. What I have here today is the Motorola Triumph, the newest phone for Virgin Mobile. If you look at it, it doesn't look that different from the Motorola Droid series of devices, especially the Droid X. It's surrounded by really nice feeling soft touch material, which takes away from the boxiness of the overall design, though the curves do help. How they cut off the edges and added a slight little angle to it does help on the overall feel, so it does feel quite nice in the hand, but it doesn't look that different from the Droid series of devices. Hardware-wise, on front we have a 4.1-inch display with a pixel resolution of 480 by 800. Right below the display we have the capacitive Android buttons for menu, home, back, and search, and the microphone. Above the display is the earpiece grill and the VGA front-facing camera, along with the proximity and ambient light sensor. On the left side of the device, we have the power button on the top left corner there. On the right side, we have the volume rocker. And on the bottom of each corner, we have speaker grills. Moving on to the top of the device, we have the 3.5mm headphone jack. On the bottom, we have the micro USB and mini HDMI ports, so this does do a mini HDMI out. If you look at the back of the Triumph, there is a 5-megapixel autofocus camera with LED flash. And you can see right there, there's a hole for the stereo mic. You can see also that the soft touch material does pick up a lot of fingerprints. If we remove the battery cover, you can see the micro SD card slot. It does ship with a 2 gig card, and it is hop swappable, which is always nice that you don't have to remove the battery to get to the SD card. As far as the battery goes, the battery is a 1380 milliamp hour battery. Powering the Motorola Triumph is a 1 GHz Snapdragon chipset. This is the same chipset found in the HTC Thunderbolt and inside the LG Revolution. Something else it shares with the LG Revolution is it has 512 megabytes of RAM. So this is no slouch when it comes to processing. This is a decently fast phone, and thanks to the fact that it's running stock Android with no UI, it also gives that little bit of speed boost because you don't have to worry about loading UI elements. It ships with Android 2.2.2 for you, so unfortunately there's no gingerbread out of the box with this one. That's something I hope that Virgin Mobile eventually will do to this phone, especially with the front-facing camera. Having access to Google's Talk video chat would be nice. While I'm speaking about video chat, I tested out a couple of video chat apps. I found that Yahoo Messenger will work. You do need the plugin to actually do video chat, but once you download the plugin, it will work. Skype recently updated their app to actually let you use video chat on any Android device that has a front-facing camera, even if it is not certified. It's not officially supported. You just have to enable it in the settings. So Skype now works. Tango works perfectly, which I expected from Tango because Tango seems to work really good on most devices with front-facing cameras. Unfortunately, Ovo and Fring would not work. Ovo just was not supported and you can't even download it. Fring ran into the same problem that many other phones run into, and it could not read the front-facing camera. So you could only see video. Video was only being sent out from the back camera. As far as other apps that come on the device, it comes with activation, AirG Chat. Facebook comes pre-installed on it. My Accounts, Point, Scavenger, TwitDroid, Virgin Mobile Live, and Wear. Those are all apps that come preloaded on the device. You get out of the box, you get 0.92 gigs of internal space free for you to fill up with apps, which is a decent amount of space. Though if you are heavy into taking pictures, you're definitely going to want to upgrade from that 2 gig card. As far as reception goes, it's been a little bit of a mixed bag, but still pretty good. Every once in a while I will drop down to 1 bar. See, right now I have 2. It does tend to fluctuate a little bit, but even though it does that, it does hold its signal, and even when it does drop down to 1 bar, I've not lost a call yet. 3G speeds have been acceptable. Varies upon the time and regular traffic and stuff like that, but it's been pretty much acceptable. Call quality, I've been able to hear everybody through the earpiece pretty clearly. People tell me that they can hear me, and though every once in a while they do get static and hiss and pop, so that could also be on their end. Speakerphone is pretty loud. I'm going to call Virgin Mobile 611 so you can hear how loud speakerphone is. Right now I have 2 bars.
Hi, this is Alex.
So it's a pretty loud speaker. One of the more interesting keyboards that comes packed with the Motorola Triumph is the TalkBack keyboard. It actually does more than you would think as a keyboard. It voice narrates the whole phone. If you go through the accessibility options, turn on accessibility and turn on TalkBack, anytime that you navigate through the phone, it says where you are. This is good for visually impaired users. However, I do find this part annoying when you go for a voice search. So say you're in the middle of saying something and that happens. You're either going to have that interrupt you or be in the middle or the end of what you're trying to say. Something else that's good to know about the TalkBack keyboard is that when you type, it actually makes a typewriter sound and vibrates like a typewriter key press would feel. And that goes right down to the delete and the space button. Some of the other input methods available on the Motorola Triumph include the touchpad keyboard, which offers you 3 different input methods. If you slide it over. And also, this both works in portrait and landscape, all 3 keyboards. And there's also the standard Android keyboard, which you find on most Android 2.2 devices, which again works in both portrait and landscape mode. While testing out the Motorola Triumph, I realized that I was having some problems when using Google Maps, rotating the map. As you can see, I'm doing the twist motion, which you normally do to rotate the map, and it is not rotating. To figure out why, I decided to run a test on the screen. And what I realized is it does support 2-finger touch. However, if you cross the axis with your fingers, it gets hung up. So watch, if I do it on the y-axis here, it gets hung up for a while, and same thing if I do it on the x-axis. I don't know if this is a software issue or a hardware issue, but I thought that it was something that should be noted. Also, there's always a chance that this happens to be something going on with my particular unit. The Triumph does ship with the standard Android WebKit browser. Right now we're going to load up boymeetsphone.com. Despite the fact that it does have that problem in Google Maps, rotating pinch to zoom does work perfectly fine on the Triumph. And the phone also does support Adobe Flash. And to show that, we're going to watch one of my video reviews to show you that it works. Right now I'm running off of Wi-Fi. I'll load up the video review for the Optimus V, another Android device available for Virgin Mobile.
The Virgin Mobile LG Optimus V feels very good in the hands.
Go in full screen.
Feels very good in the hands. Up front, you have a 3.2-inch capacitive
So Flash
multi-touch
does
screen.
work on the Motorola Triumph. The Triumph has a 5-megapixel autofocus camera in the back and a VGA quality camera in the front. It ships with stock Android, so it has the stock Android camera app on it. For settings, you have the options to change the zoom, turn the flash on and off, change the white balance, turn geolocation, so geotagging on and off, and do things like switch from the front camera to the main camera in the back, add color effects, change the ISO, and other important settings like saturation, brightness, and sharpness. There is no physical camera button on the Triumph, so you do need to use the on-screen button. There is touch to focus, though. You have to go into the settings to turn it on, but it does support touch to focus, so you can touch anywhere to focus in on that area. To take the picture, you just hold the button to focus again and tap to shoot. Overall, I found that the pictures came out decent. The closer you are to the subject, I found that the quality and the details go up. Further away, it tends to get a little bit grainy. Color reproduction is nice. The camera also supports 720p high-def video. Unfortunately, you cannot refocus while shooting or touch the focus before shooting. But I do find that the color reproduction and the quality is decent on the 720p video shots. So, when I told a friend of mine that I was going to be doing a review on a Virgin Mobile phone, their first thoughts were, it's not going to be that good of a phone because it's on Virgin Mobile. You know, it's the whole stigma of a prepaid carrier thing. But this phone is as good, if not better, than certain other on-contract phones. It has a really nice, solid feature set. Things like the front-facing camera. It's something you're not going to get on a lot of other on-contract devices. The HDMI out is a really nice feature, allowing you to share what's going on your screen on a large screen. So having that's always nice. Battery-wise, I've been able to get on average 17 hours out of this phone. That's with moderate to heavy usage. So it will get you through the day. Overall, I'd have to say that this is a super solid device. Virgin Mobile has been working really hard lately on trying to break the stigma of a prepaid carrier, and if this doesn't prove to you that prepaid carriers are amazing, then I don't know what else will. Thanks for watching this video. This is Yossarian from boymeetsphone.com.